Late on that start. Yeah.
The same article, I haven't even looked at it.
I'm sorry?
The same article?
Numbers?
Yeah, I believe so. Pretty sure, yeah. We may be looking at a technical amendment too, which I'll talk about in executive session. You've been doing all kinds of things, haven't you? Talking about baptized by fire.
Can't approve the minutes or anything like that. And that ends it.
Hello?
Andrea?
Yes.
It's Dan.
Hi.
Hi, we're just about to start.
Okay.
We are going to start right now. Are we ready?
All right.
Turn on the mic. Turn on the tape recorder. I will call to order the meeting of the Nantucket Memorial Airport Commission for March 12th, 2019. Commissioner Planzer is participating remotely because her physical attendance is unreasonably difficult. The meeting is being both audio and video recorded. And I've been asked to say that there's some question whether the bathrooms in this building are working. So if anybody needs, we'll try to be quick.
We'll tough it out, Dan.
Are there any comments on the agenda?
Nope.
Hearing none, it's adopted. The draft minutes of February 12th, 2019. Did you get out the changes that I made? Did you?
Yeah, they're in, we have them. We have them.
I don't think so there were some changes from the version that was in your original packet. They have been highlighted. I tried to make clear Mrs. Topham's feelings about the bar in the hold room, and the other changes, as I said, are highlighted. So if you haven't had a minute, does anybody need more time to look?
No.
I don't have that version, I don't believe.
Email it to
We just got a handout.
You probably don't.
No, sorry.
Microphone, Dan.
I'm sorry, is the microphone not on?
Tony?
Oh, it isn't.
Oh.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Well, can we go ahead and approve them with, I guess Mrs. Topham isn't going to vote because she wasn't here, but if I have two other votes with my own, can we go ahead and approve them? Do you mind? Ms. Plans?
Oh, that's fine.
I'd make a motion to adopt the February 12th, 2019 draft minutes as amended.
Second?
Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 And
Do you
I'll
have to do
abstain.
a roll call because of the phone?
Oh, wait, I do, that's right, thank you, yes. Commissioner Planzer, how do you vote? Do you wish to abstain?
I'll abstain.
Okay. Commissioner Buscarin?
Aye.
Commissioner Topham?
Abstain.
Commissioner
Aye.
Gasparo, and the chair votes aye, so they are approved. May I have a motion, please, to ratify the warrants of February 20th, 2019 and March 6th, 2019?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second, comment? Mr. Buscarin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Topham?
I will abstain on the February 20th and approve the March 6th, I think it is.
Right. Commissioner Planzer?
So I will vote yea on the 220, and the other one I'll abstain, the 3-6.
Okay.
Aye.
Mr. Gasparo, and the chair votes aye, so they're all approved. Is there public comment at this time?
Good afternoon.
Good
afternoon.
Public comment.
Pending leases and contracts.
Okay.
Mr. Rafter, you have a lot of explaining to do.
Yes, well, the first one is pending. It's Jacob's task order, which we were hoping to have by tonight, but we'll have by the next meeting. And that was for design of, for some concrete apron repairs. The last one is still pending, and that's for the McFarland Johnson design and security system. And we're waiting the word on a grant for that. The one in between is a contract for the temporary hold room. And what we did was it was bid once, and due to differing interpretations of the procurement laws, it was determined that the most expeditious way to proceed was to rebid the project with all 4 elements and request a waiver from DCAM for bidding, which they graciously approved. The proposals were sought, and yesterday we received 2 of them, one for $375,688 and the other for $393,570. They're currently being reviewed, but because of the critical nature of this project and the limited schedule to have it up and operating by the time the airlines are in, I'd like to respectfully request the commission to authorize the chairman to enter into a contract with the most responsible proposer in an amount not to exceed $400,000.
How much did it cost last year for, I know the tent was, or the holding room was smaller.
I
Considerably
don't
less,
recall off the
about?
top. It was much less, yes. And we have a grant later on in the agenda here for a decent portion of this too.
Okay, thank you.
What is the pleasure of the commission?
Question? And will some components of this work be reusable?
All of it will. That's the
Very-
difference this year. This
That's
year,
what I thought, okay.
we'll have a floor. It'll be a tent that we will own, not rent. And the electrical will be able to be disconnected and brought back to the terminal.
I would make a motion to authorize the chairman to enter into a contract with the most responsible proposer not to exceed $400,000.
I'll second that.
Is there discussion? All those sorry. Commissioner Planzer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Buscarin?
Aye.
Ms. Topham?
Aye.
Mr. Gasparo? And I guess I should abstain since I'm the one who
Not
is
being
being given
authorized.
the power to do this. So in any event, it passes. Do you want to discuss the possibility of a special meeting to talk about the apron repair? Or are you going to come to that later?
Now, we need to clarify some things first, I think, in executive session.
Okay. All right. But there is a possibility that we may have to have a special meeting.
Yes,
correct? To consider an
an award of another project that needs to be
repair
completed
project,
quickly too.
Okay. I thought we should put that on the record. And McFarland Johnson, we're not doing anything with, so we're done with those. General fund repayment proposal?
In the packet is a letter to the FAA requesting final approval, or approval of the final amount of $3,955,087.85 to be repaid to the town. Once the FAA has approved that, we'll need to have the commission and select board approve the agreement as well. The initial request was for $4.6 million, and FAA denied about $600 and some thousand because it went beyond the look-back period.
But they've indicated their willingness to sign this. have they
Yes, I
not?
sent it in draft form first, and they've indicated that it was okay to send it as is, so we're hoping that they'll get the,
We'll amend the original MOU.
correct, with the new amount.
Any questions? Crew quarters?
On the crew quarters, the first draft of the request for qualifications for designer services has been completed. I'm working on a RFP for an owner's project manager, and we'll be doing a transfer of funds at ATM to fund the OPM and design efforts. And we also are going to have McFarland Johnson, our on-call engineers, perform the financial analysis on feasibility and return on investment.
Do they have a capability of doing that?
They do. It was a great idea Jamie had, and she said, let's, talk to them because they do our rates and charges, our PFC. And we had a conference call, and in fact, they understood it in depth because one of the players is on a board, a housing board or something. So they're going to develop a model that we can plug the inputs into and then determine what our risk levels may be as we receive more information.
Excellent. Any other questions on that? On the proposed purchase and reuse of the Nantucket Inn by the town of Nantucket, I guess that's a dead issue for the moment at least. You did see that I drafted a letter along the lines of our discussion at the last meeting, but obviously we don't need to go forward with that.
Is the select board generally aware of our position on this anyway?
Not necessarily. I think the town manager.
The town manager is,
Okay.
yes.
I just want to make sure there's some.
Memorial Aviation Wall.
All the pictures and plaques have been removed. The wall's been repaired. We have the new plaques, or not, I'm sorry, the new backings for the pictures in. We're waiting the plaques to be returned. They're getting cleaned up and some had to be modified. There were some spelling errors and things. But hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll be preparing to have some sort of ceremony for that. And we're going to be creating it with, and I keep forgetting the lady's last name. The
Something
Senate-
G, Kathleen,
Yes.
or are you talking about karaoke?
No, not
Kathleen
Carrie's.
Grimmer or something.
Yeah.
I have it on my phone. Sorry.
Anyway, we're going to be coordinating it with the interested parties, and but between Lisa and the FBO and Mike in maintenance, they've done a great job organizing it, and it'll be laid out with a new title plaque and laid out such that it'll be balanced, and if we need to add an additional, we can just shift it over a little bit.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, grant award and grant assurances.
We received the grant. Contract is in your packet from the state for $240,000 for the hold room, temporary hold room. And the grant assurances will follow. They just normally tailor it to the project, but they're pretty standard.
Make a motion to accept the grant in the amount of $240,000.
Second?
Is there a discussion? Ms. Planzer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Buscarin?
Aye.
Ms. Topham?
Aye.
Mr. Gasparo?
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Thank you. Your report, Mr. Rafter.
On the project side of the house, the admin office flooding issue, the specs and design scope are being finalized, and we'll be coordinating that with the insurance company and putting it out to bid. Seasonal preparations continue with the hold room, parking positions, TSA preparation. All of those things are moving along very rapidly and will be moving quickly here soon. Still awaiting return or feedback from FAA on the ALP update and geometry issue. Environmental assessment and environmental impact statement, the work has begun on that. Tank compliance services, the UST underground storage tank for the air traffic control tower has been, we have a new one that's replaced it, but we're seeking proposals to get pricing for removal of the existing tank. PFC.
Is the new one underground?
The new one, no, is inside the old vault.
Okay.
We use that area. So it's above ground, it's in a concrete area and works very well.
Okay.
The PFC application number 2, work has begun and they're collecting data for that. The housing project I touched on earlier. Bunker Road, we have a major drainage issue, and our maintenance department has worked up a interim immediate solution with a pump, and they're removing the water as fast as they can whenever it collects. But we also have a short-term fix that we're waiting for some help from our engineers on, as well as a long-term fix. We think it's in the infiltrator bed, and one of our tenants has volunteered to assist us in looking at that. So we have the immediate, we're working on the short-term and the long-term fix for that. In the fuel farm rehabilitation, we're finalizing task order scope of work for that and should be before you next month. On the RFP and bid side of the house, pavement markings and rubber removal for runway 624. We had a continuous friction measurement performed, and it indicated there's no need for rubber removal, which is a tremendous savings because the initial estimate for that was about $319,000. So we'll be removing that or adjusting the bid that's out on the street right now accordingly. The on-call airfield electrical services bid, we received one and will proceed with the award. Fuel farm inspections, we received one bid but had to reject it due to the cost and will be reissuing it. On-call HVAC, one bid was received and we're proceeding with award on that. IT services, two bids were received and they're in the process of being reviewed. The fuel supply bids, the site visit was very well attended and there were multiple questions asked in writing. We have a new due date of March 22nd for when those bids are due in, and we're preparing to reissue the Bunker Road parcels because we have some interest expressed in that. On the operations side of the house, our certification inspection by FAO is scheduled for May 22nd through the 24th. If you haven't noticed, the contractor for the Richmond Group has begun construction of a right turn lane from Old South onto Airport Road. That portion of work should only take about 3 to 4 days. They'll put down a base paving coat in April, and then it'll be finished up in the fall, the final work. Just a reminder, April 1st is annual town meeting. In the handout, or there's a handout tonight with a prepared statement on the taxiway and security articles if they were to get called. We'll also be creating a handout to be distributed at ATM explaining the projects and that they'll have no impact on the tax base for the local citizens. We continue to monitor a number of drone issues, detection and prevention. The security system, we have had some challenges with that, but we were fortunate enough our contractor came in and modified the system slightly. It's not ideal, but it's we met with TSA, they did an inspection, and we're working with them on a solution for that. Maintenance department is working on replacing the landside signs to replace more of the metal signs with more Nantucket appropriate looking signs. And I'd like to give a shout out to Noah for putting together a tour for a familiarization event for a family with a special needs child. We have a tour program, but this was a specialized tour, and he worked with all the parties involved and did an excellent job with the family. And we're looking to be able to offer that to more folks to bring them out so that the children can be acclimated and accustomed to what they have to go through when they go through an airport. So thank you very much. It was a great job, Noah.
Thank you, Noah.
Any questions before I move on to statistics?
I just wanted to make a comment about the office that we got flooded. Has ServPro gone in and made sure that there's still not any mold? Because
Yes.
I know in the school that there was a lot of mold, because I have a family member who has got occupational asthma because of that. And so I just want to really be sure that it's
Yes, that was
well
a
done.
service that was done immediately. They come in and they rip out so much up to certain levels, and they had all the dehumidifiers in, and they test different areas and then had to remove other sections. So
I just hate for us to get in the same situation that the elementary school is in.
thank you. And just so you're aware, what we're working on with that is two solutions. One is what I'll call the insurance covered solution, which is putting everything back the way it was. And then a second one is to prepare to make sure it never happens again, whether it's an additional heating unit or whatever.
Thank you.
I had one question on one of the comments about replacing the signage.
Yes.
And is that the metal signs around the parking lot?
Mainly the big metal signs that have the parking and TNC or the Uber.
Those will be
type.
replaced.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And in fact, it was ironically, just as we put those up within about a month, they came out with a standard that's all new icons and everything else anyway, so we're going to change that too.
Have we gone to HDC for the new signs?
Not yet. We don't have the design. We're still working on design. But it's I guess it'd be similar to what you saw see on the Blade building.
Yep.
That size with the same type of thing, so. And I looked in the, what's the document that, building with the Nantucket in mind?
Nantucket in mind.
And I couldn't find anything specific on signage.
There's a sign advisory committee that you may want to consult with.
Okay.
It'd be good for us to be sure that we're compliant.
Used to be quite active. I haven't heard much from them yet lately.
They're still active.
They are still active? Okay.
I would hope that they're gonna think it's an improvement over what we have, so.
Hospitals are not exactly with Nantucket in mind either,
They did review. There's a master
did they?
sign review. I mean, I only saw it on the edge. I wasn't part of it, but
Interesting. Okay.
that's
Okay,
it. Thank you.
on the statistics, the operations continue to decline. They're down almost 34% over last January, down year-to-date about 26%. The emplanements are down 24.39 over last January, but still up 4.96, almost 5%. And again, what we're seeing is our seasonals are carrying us through that we may still see a slight increase year over year. Cape Air saw a 16% decrease in emplanements. Nantucket Air was down 49%. Tradewinds down 25%. Retrix was down 12%. As I say, when we talk percentages this time of year, we're lucky that it's, smaller numbers, but it's still not a good sign. In the Boston market, Cape Air experienced a 16% decrease. New Bedford traffic was down for the first time in several months by 9% or 23 passengers. The overall Hyannis market for January was down 34% or 630 passengers. In total, with Cape Air down 70 passengers, Nantucket Air down 446 passengers, and Retrix down 114 passengers. In the JFK market, Cape Air carried 92 passengers with a load factor of 38%.
I find it just fascinating that Retrix is not, I know they don't have the same number of seats, but, one emplacement for 2 flights.
Yes, for LaGuardia. Partially, I think some of that is, again, the booking. You can book on Cape Air connecting through with JetBlue. They're going right to the JetBlue terminal. The LaGuardia service for Retrix, you do go into the same area as JetBlue. It's actually an FBO. But I don't think you can book straight through on that. And the Vineyard traffic continued to decline, was down 72% or 83 passengers. On the good news side of the house, the Jet A gallons sold for January are up almost 37%, and year-to-date are up 10.4%. For February, they're up 31% or 2,881 gallons. Avgas was up again for January, 67.26, and year-to-date 16.28. And for February, they were also up 17% or 502 gallons. Freight?
It's so counterintuitive with the operations being down. So do we have any explanation for this?
I really can't, other than the fact that, again, it's possibly larger airplanes. We don't see many of them, but when they come in, I've noticed we're seeing some jets occasionally, and they're taking on some fuel. The avgas, I think it's Cape Air's purchasing more here than they typically would in Boston or whatever. But the jet, I can't really explain that much. So. On the freight,
We'll be thankful for small favors
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was going to say we were.
or big favors.
freight was up 16.83% over last January and 4.87 year to date. And you can see the changes here. Cape Air Mail was up 18% and FedEx Wiggins was up 130%. And on the noise, we received 2 complaints in January versus none last year. Details are in there. They were investigated and found to be flying within the voluntary routes. And that's my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Rafter? Any personnel matters?
No, I reported last month that we hired a new individual in the FBO, Helena Hubova. She's working out very well. No other changes right now, so.
That's good. All right. And we're starting to hire for the summer?
Not yet. We just got word today of a job fair that we will probably participate in. We did last year at the school, and then we'll begin our outreach probably later this month to all of the different aviation schools and associations and things.
All right, good. Are there any commissioners' comments? Just in sitting with Mr. Rafter this morning, there's an awful lot on the airport's platter over the next 3 to 4 months. They need our good wishes to get them through them without any.
We have 3 big projects we're going to have to be completed by about May 10th, May 15th. Some are in process, some haven't even started.
Is there public comment at this time? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to go into executive session under General Law, Chapters 30A and Section 21A to review executive session minutes as enumerated in the agenda, and under Clause 3 to discuss strategy with respect to pending litigation in respect to the resolution of the Apron 3 area pavement project. Chair has determined that open session may have a detrimental effect on the litigation position of the Airport Commission.
So move not to return to open session.
Seconded.
Discussion? Commissioner Planzer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Buscarin?
Aye.
Ms. Topham?
Aye.
Mr. Gasparo?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All right, thank you.